Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Ben Burnside Show, coming at to you from my home studio in Fresno. This is going to be another trailer reaction involving Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which will come out next month. Next month in November. I already saw a trailer. It's called the official deep dive trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I thought it was really good. I'm going to give my thoughts on that trailer, along with the trailer I'm going to watch right now on here, both courtesy of the IGN YouTube channel. So I think this game looks awesome. It's making me rethink my decision of getting a PS5. I really don't know which console to get with the new generation of consoles coming out. So let's take a look at this trailer, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the final preview. All right, so I'm going to click on it here, get it rolling. Might have an ad, so I'm going to skip that. I'm looking forward to this game. There's a lot to be said about this game, a lot of great, all good things from the first trailer I saw. So I wonder if this trailer will also add context to that very first detailed trailer that I saw. I would have detailed it, but it's just, I don't know. I don't want to review both. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of biting into too much there for some reason. So in terms of copyright, it just made me nervous. So I decided to refrain from doing both. But I regretted it when I finished watching that trailer. So let's watch this trailer though. Maybe I will be just as happy with this one. 3, 2, 1.
The last time Assassin's Creed broke from its yearly release schedule, we got Assassin's Creed Origins, a game that fundamentally changed the direction of the series from an open-world stealth action-adventure to a full-blown open-world RPG that rivals the scope of games like The Witcher, Red Dead Redemption 2, and so on. Assassin's Creed Valhalla represents only the third time Ubisoft has taken a year off in the 13-year history of the series, and while it doesn't upend the series the way that Origins did, my main takeaway from spending 6 hands-on hours with it is that Valhalla is significantly more ambitious and daringly different from its predecessors than one might initially think.
I'm the greatest of flighters, a master of verse.
Your pride is appalling, and your rhyming is worse.
Ooh.
Got you there, young Earth.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla's biggest departure from previous Assassin's Creed games is that traditional side quests are no more. You won't travel to a new area, talk to everyone with a marker over their head, and then just be loaded up with 20 different mini storylines to keep track of at any given time. But this doesn't mean that Valhalla's scope or scale is diminished. There are still a ton of side activities, just not in the way that you might expect. Instead, when you synchronize a new part of the map, you'll discover a bunch of dots colored yellow, blue, or white that pinpoint those activities. The yellow dots correspond to a side activity that will reward you with some sort of tangible item, some gold, a new piece of gear, or a book of knowledge that either teaches or upgrades a skill. The larger the dot on the map, the more substantial the challenge and the greater the reward. A large yellow dot, for instance, might correspond to a heavily guarded fortress with multiple large chests, while a smaller yellow dot might represent a single chest hidden behind a minor locked door puzzle. White dots represent artifacts, which are traditional collectible scavenger hunts. Follow a white dot on the map and you might find a hidden Roman artifact that you can take back to your settlement and trade with a vendor, or you might complete a quick parkour challenge and find a new tattoo that you can use to customize your character. Finally, the blue dots correspond to world events. And here's where you'll find the closest things to traditional side quests. World events are incredibly varied and could be anything. A quick minigame involving stacking cairn stones, a short encounter with an often unusual NPC, or a boss fight against a mythical creature. Let's pause for a moment and go back to the word unusual.
Alright.
Because one other huge departure from other Assassin's Creed games is that these world events are, more often than not, hilariously bizarre. In one event, I had to collect a bunch of viper eggs for a maniacal lady who presumably wanted to eat them just so she can unleash a nasty fart for the people above ground to suffer through.
What?
I I knew I would regret this.
In another, I
Good
protected
God,
a lady
what the
locked in
fuck?
a tower who gets her kicks by pretending to be in trouble and having people save her. And in another still, I ate some hallucinogenic mushrooms and found myself in a field with seals, watching them direct me through magical doorways in a specific sequence. When asked about this change in tone, lead quest designer Philip Bergeron told me that you need peaks and valleys when you're telling a story in order to appreciate the stronger human stories.
What?
And that by positioning world events in this way, it gave the developers opportunities to deal with other subjects. He said that when you're dealing with warfare and the politics that come with the Viking Age, it gets somber very quickly. So, the world events are a way to help lighten the mood from time to time and have a few beams of sunshine here and there. And true enough, I found myself giggling way more often than I typically would while playing an Assassin's Creed game. One other upside to this change is that it makes exploration much more natural and less overwhelming. There's no longer a massive backlog of side quests to complete, so you can just explore at your leisure and complete these world events as you come across them. Bergeron said that early on, one of the things that they wanted to do was have a clear differentiator between earlier games with the same formula. So instead of having something that felt like a checklist of things to do, they put things in broader buckets that keep the air of mystery where you don't precisely know what you're going for. It was also important to remove the idea that you were grinding the map by having the same sort of repeating activities. What's nice too is that this pivot allows Ubisoft to devote more effort into Valhalla's main quest. I was told that the team took the budget that they typically dedicate to side content and invested it in making sure that the main content had richer, deeper stories, so that anytime you commit to any given territory, you'll get a complete self-contained story that has its place in the greater scheme of things. Another one of Valhalla's departures from the series is the fact that your bird will no longer spot enemies for you. In prior games, it could be used to scout an entire encampment, revealing the locations of enemies all throughout, even allowing you to see them through walls. It was a tactic that Bergeron described as an almost press the button to win kind of scenario. This time around, the team wants to create a more cohesive synergy between you and your bird. In Valhalla, your Raven can get you an overhead view of an enemy encampment and scout out potential entrances and areas of interest, sure. But in order to get a feel for where enemies are, you'll need to be physically near the area. Once you're close to an area where you suspect enemies, you can click the right stick in and activate your Odin sight. Valhalla's take on Eagle Vision to highlight all enemies in a circle around you. And, of course, one of the most talked about features in Valhalla is the return of the iconic Hidden Blade, which can once again instantly kill most, but not all, unsuspecting foes. With all of these pieces working together, along with Eivor's bow that can be powered up with a multitude of skills, there's no shortage of stealth tools in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Once blades start clashing, things are pretty familiar, though there are a few very notable differences in combat. For one, each character has both a stun bar and a health bar, and you can choose to go after either one by tailoring your combat style. Take a more defensive approach by going for counters, and you'll chip away at the enemy's stun bar, which allows you to execute a powerful finishing move for huge damage that can kill an enemy outright. Or just take a more traditional approach by just swinging your weapon at whatever moves, and you'll hack away at an enemy's health bar. But there is a wide variety of special enemy types, each with unique behaviors and attack patterns, so you'll have to tailor your combat based on the enemy you're fighting. One other big change in Valhalla is how it handles loot. In Origins and Odyssey, you were essentially showered with loot from beginning to end. That's changing in Valhalla, as Ubisoft adopts a more quality over quantity approach to your hard-earned spoils. One of the goals of the dev team from the get-go was to have the player appreciate their inventory a bit more. So they opted for a collection system where there's a narrower range of different gear and weapons, but you can invest in and upgrade them, allowing you to find and invest in the playstyle that fits you.
Man, who cares? Just get to the story stuff.
At its core, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is about a crew of Vikings trying to make a new home for themselves on a foreign land. And with that comes your settlement. This is a home base that you will frequently return to in order to pick up new quests in the main storyline, talk with important characters, upgrade your gear, and upgrade the various structures of the settlement itself to provide your character with better buffs and persistent perks. What's nice about the settlement is that everything you need to do in the open world kind of feeds back into it. You see the progression of your settlement mirrored in your own personal progression.
It's like
when you
Red
raid a
Dead
town and
Redemption
collect
2.
gold and supplies, those supplies can be used to improve your settlement and make it feel more like your own personal home. Admittedly, it's hard to see just how deep the development of your settlement can be after only 6 hours, but it's nonetheless a nice change to have all the vendors you need centralized in one place, rather than having to scour the map to find the nearest blacksmith. Ultimately, I ended my hands-on experience with Assassin's Creed Valhalla very hopeful. I really dig the large high-level changes that Ubisoft is making, and the reasoning behind each of them makes a ton of sense. There are still a few problems with enemy AI and general bugginess in the combat that I'd like to see cleaned up before launch, but above all else, my 6 hours of playtime made me breathe a sigh of relief. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is absolutely not just a retread of ground covered by Origins and Odyssey. It's an exciting departure from what's already been done. For more Assassin's Creed Valhalla, make sure to check out our gameplay clips, and for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
All right. That was the final preview trailer. So now I've seen both trailers of Deep Dive and this final preview trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I have to admit, I am pretty impressed with what I've seen with these two videos. I very much, I think the Deep Dive trailer is quite a bit better, quite frankly. But so I would definitely suggest to go watch that. I think that this really seems to be, they really seem to be aiming this game to be the most ambitious Assassin's Creed game that has ever been made, and that is very exciting. So it seems like they're mixing a lot of different elements from different Assassin's Creed games into this game. And I didn't know that from Origins and to after, they made Assassin's Creed more of an open world thing. I thought it was open world before with the very first game, quite frankly, but apparently they're really establishing that now. But I don't know. I haven't played the last few games, but this one does look very incredible. And the Deep Dive trailer really went into detail of stuff like updating the buildings of your hometown, as well as other things like exploring the open world. It's very much an open world centric game, to where this kind of reminded me of Red Dead Redemption 2 of how the world is. The side quests are interesting, but I thought the explanation was pretty good, that you need to have humor with these side quests a little bit, because this is a very, it's kind of heavy, the war stuff with going on with the main story, so it makes sense to me, so I allow it, and as a fan. What was not mentioned in this trailer that was mentioned in the other? Apparently there's a lot of Viking politics going on in this game, which is pretty cool. I like the gameplay battles. I guess there's bugs. I never noticed bugs. I never noticed bugs that much in video games. I guess I'm more of a casual video game fan. But I'm into the idea of these battles and how they're set up and all that. I also like, what am I missing here? I like all the upgrade equipment stuff. This trailer made that stuff look bad, but I liked how it was presented in the other trailer, how you can customize the character. Apparently you could switch from gender to gender as the game progresses, which is, back and forth, which is pretty cool. I like the idea of you upgrading to a lieutenant. You're getting your own lieutenant. It sounds like that you're getting that from this game, from the last trailer too. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. Apparently, there's a giant slew of just different people you could talk to with different quests. So I would argue that it does sound like there are side quests, that they're just not as visible as they were in the previous games. That's kind of what I'm getting out of the two trailers. So cool there. All the usual stuff. You can upgrade weapons and stuff like that. Maybe you can upgrade your horse, or whatever, which is nice. The story mode sounds interesting. They didn't talk about the story mode in either trailer. Fine, I'm cool with that. Uh, I don't want to watch every single piece of video for a video game coming out before it comes out. Like, it's basically like spoiling myself too much, and I don't like doing that. So I think this game looks good. I'm going to get it either way. They don't need to sell me anymore. So I that's my take on it. Uh, One little nugget: apparently you can have an animal attack soldiers during battle. I love that shit. I eat that shit for breakfast, just like how the animal eats your enemy. So anyway, I very much like that. Uh, and what am I missing? I know I'm missing some shit. Man, I'm just I'm excited for this game. Um, so yeah, and apparently you'll gain skills over time, of course, that you'll upgrade. Just like any video game where you want to upgrade combat skills over time through experience. That's what I'm doing right now with all the Batman Arkham games as I'm replaying them. Uh, and what else? I think that's it. Well, there's a lot more I'm just forgetting, but that's all right. Oh, in your hometown, you can be attacked in your hometown. There's sprouting story modes that happen that add on to all the stories you can do as the game progresses. Like, I love the richness of that. And it really seems like video games seem to be going that route, which I very much love. The open world, multiple objective option route where you could do countless shit in that world. And Assassin's Creed seems to be delving into that more with this video game, probably more than ever before, which I am very much looking forward to. So it makes it harder. It makes it harder whether to pick Xbox or PlayStation. What the fuck do I do? But anyway, that's my take on it, guys. I am looking forward to this game, and I am sold on getting on it. So the question now is, what do you guys think of the video game? Drop down in the comment section below and leave your thoughts of whether you're going to get this game or not. Are you going to go to PlayStation instead? Did this sell you to at least take a look at Xbox if you're going to buy that? Or are you just going to buy both? You don't really care. But you're going to buy everything, which is cool too. Like and subscribe. Watch all my video content on there, including my reaction, and also listen to my podcast, Garage Guys Sports Talk, with my man Jesse Allison, as we break down the latest news in the world of sports. That we post multiple podcasts of that show per week because there's a lot of news to cover, but and a lot of fun to do in those podcasts if you take a listen. Alrighty, guys. Until then. I will catch you on the burn side. Hope you get this game. All right. Until then, peace.